And I even told the doctor, please go through with the surgery and finish it. And if I'm dead, just bury me like that. Bury me with a vagina. Hi, my name is Andrea and I'm a transgender model. When I was about 8 or 9 years old, Powerpuff Girls was just like all over the TV sets. I would beg my parents, like, I really want this, I really want this. So I would get all the merch and I would play with them, and my parents, they weren't overjoyed that I was playing with Powerpuff Girl figurines, but they didn't stop me. I think that's when I knew that I wasn't normal. On top of, feeling like I wasn't in the right body, I was fat as well, so they used to call me a fat sissy chassis pal. So I always knew I was attracted to men. I found the male physique very appealing to me from a very young age, from like 8 years old, I think. When I found out that I was attracted to men, I was very confused because I was also a man. I knew there were transgender people, but at that time it was not common. So I was about 19 years old when I found out about this Canadian YouTuber called Gigi Gorgeous, and she was also going through a transition. When I watched the video, I said to myself, this is me. It was when I went for resurfaced. I had to cut my hair off and I hated the way I looked. I was hating myself, and girls were calling me handsome, and that just made me so uncomfortable on so many levels. And I knew I had to do something about it because I don't want to be handsome. So I did hormone therapy for about a year, and I went for my mammoplasty, which is also called a boob job, in 2015. Shortly after, I adjusted my voice, I did a treacle shave, and lastly, I did my gender confirming surgeries, which is the one down there, and that was the biggest and most painful surgery I've ever been through in my life. That was the only time in my transition that I actually regretted, because the pain was beyond me. I was actually contemplating just living life with, boobs and a penis. But I met my ex-husband. I really wanted to marry him, and I realized that I do not want to marry him as a male. I wanted to marry him as female in my legal documents. Many trans women actually die from this surgery, and it was really scary to get undressed and go into that robe knowing you might not wake up alive again. And I said to myself, if I do not wake up alive, Andrea, even if they bury you, you're going to be buried with a vagina and as a woman. Thankfully, I woke up and I saw my boyfriend's face. And I looked at him and I smiled and I said, I'm finally a woman. I married my ex-husband at the age of 26 years old. I eloped to Denmark to be with him, and I was in love with the idea of having a family and my own husband. It was something I've always wanted, and that was why I chose to marry him, even though he was really abusive and the relationship was a very turbulent and rocky one. I decided to eventually move back to Singapore because I realized that the relationship was not going to work. So I asked for a divorce. I was very broken because I knew that I felt like a failure. I felt like I failed myself, and I decided, I was going to do something for myself. And that was when I decided to go for my dreams, and one of them was to be a model. I wanted to be a model from the age of 14 when I found out about America's Next Top Model. And I would replicate the shoes. There was this one Viragio spider brooch shoot, and I would take my mom's brooch and her robe, and I would just like... Now looking back, it was a really rough journey, but I'm glad I went through it because I'm who I am today because of it. One day at a time, I became stronger. Life, it's all about self-acceptance. It's about loving yourself for who you are. It's about just being you. All I can say is just to roll with it and just know that at the end of the day, you will reach your destination, and there will always be light at the end of the tunnel.